What's up, guys? Twisting the Spiz, and I had a interesting reply back to my email yesterday about like basically fuck reactivations. Now come on, I actually know like obviously reactivations, but if you read the newsletter yesterday, it had some ideas on kind of preventative game plans and something I do with all my coaching, consulting, growth coordinator clients is work with them and their team on. Just so you know, one thing that I do is I work on this with them because it takes optimization and repetition and practice. And someone wrote back. Well, not just someone. She's freaking awesome, Dr. Anita. She wrote back a question. Oh, I just had it. I thought I was so organized on this. Um, Questions on. I mean, I know what she wrote back, but I just want to get to the damn thing. She wrote back, hey, can you share an example of tough love? You can reach out to ghosters and no-shows. Also, an example of life's too busy. I'll call you back to reschedule later and the consistent reschedule. What do you say without losing them completely? I think the most important part when it comes to tough love and what we mean in essence of what I mean about this work, brain work. What I mean about this is at times you have to love your people. You have to love your patients. My dad taught me that. I share about that a lot in my Spiz newsletter. And sometimes love is not necessarily like rainbows and unicorns, right? Just like in our personal relationships with our children, with our friends and family. And I always go back to this story of I had a client a couple years ago. He's in the holding tank, closed for Cairo. Shout out to Dan Bay and closed for Cairo. Um, and he had a really high PVA, like in the 170s. I mean, not like what I grew up high PVA, like the 500s from the 80s and 90s, the Mercedes 80s when they didn't have websites and Facebook and podcast and YouTube. And suddenly they were somehow able to build a fucking practice without all that shit and keep them coming back. Probably lessons to be learned there. But one of the things I learned growing up was tough love. And this doc was struggling with like 170, not struggling with 170, really great PVA comparatively to if you guys do most of your numbers out there, which is like in the 30s. But he was dealing with the economy changing the last couple of years and his own people who he trained. As I like to say, you train your people. You're training your people to fall in love with chiropractic. He did such a damn good job that his patients were like, look, you're expensive. I got to go elsewhere. And I want to use my insurance over there. And despite any, like, I won't get into all that, but like, he was just dealing with this. Like, this has been like maybe now a trend because two or three, right? Pattern was starting to merge. And I told him a story about a client who, at the time, a couple years ago, was like, "Hey, I gotta cut you off, man. I can't do this anymore. It really, some things have happened in our life, me and my husband, some financial decisions that he made are affecting, and I can't pay you anymore. You're a lot." And I was like, "Hey, I let you down, number one, because you didn't come to me and go." Hey, Twisty, some shit went down in my business and financial life. I need your help to help me make more money faster and better and easier. So I really let you down. So let me get that out of the way. But that doesn't mean I think this is the right time for you to switch off and not work with me. In fact, now you're telling me there's a big hole, big problem. We need to make more money faster, better, and protect you. There's a lot more to work on. I think this is a dumb idea. And I said that lovingly. I think this is a dumb idea to actually cut me out. I should be an investment still, not a cost. But I let you down. 2 days later, she came back and said, let's keep going. And heading back to the original question from Dr. Anita is I think authentically you have to be you and it has to be your language. You can't fake it. You can't like I'm gonna just be me. But if you notice, I did a slap and a kiss, and that's me. I think that I'm gonna come from the standpoint of I let you down. Somehow I let you down because I did. Person should have been coming back to me. Same thing I told this doctor who his patients were leaving him to go to another doctor. And I asked him a question: did you ever think to tell them no? And he goes, No, no, what do you mean? Well, first of all, do you ever think to tell them no? Do you have the authority, the respect? They've been with you for over hundreds of visits. You've spent time and given them energy, and you've been their teacher and their chiropractor. And maybe they're trying to wiggle out, or maybe they're just testing the waters. Sometimes, do you ever think about just telling them straight up no? And he went back and he experienced this again, like a few weeks later, and he goes, Tristy, I told him no. I don't think that's a good idea. And so empowering you guys to kind of think like you don't have there's it's not about like scripting all the time. Sometimes it's just like the high EQ of just like that's dumb. If I think it's dumb, maybe I'm going to share with them, the people that I love. I think that's dumb. Well, same thing when we're talking about people ghosting us, no showing, getting life in the way, calling back to say, hey, I'll call you back. I'm too busy to reschedule. I implement with my people, I call those red flags, and I train front offices how to work with those and then work with the doctors on that. But just to answer Anita's question, how do you do that without losing them completely? I think number one comes to be authentically you. If you are, and knowing Dr. Anita, I know all her emotions and stuff, which are a rainbow, I would let that rainbow out. And I would be okay with being truthful, which this is the whole point of this. I'm going to contact someone, for example, who ghosted us. And hopefully I'm going to get a hold of them. And if I don't get a hold of them, I'm going to leave a message. I'm going to leave a text. I'm going to leave an email. Hey, Twisty, it's Dr. Schaub, and I'm concerned and a little anxious about you right now. If you can give me a call back, I'm leaving a little mystery with that. And then if they call back, text back, hey, I'm concerned. This is where you might leave me. I'm okay with facing the truth and saying, this is where you might be feeling better. We're falling off track. When we connected, and this is why it's really important in your sales process, again, that you have this commitment and collaboration with your people that that you can go back to from your discovery processes, from your sales process to say, remember when you said, one of my favorite lines we did in sales last couple of years and a lot of my different offerings is and asking, are you coachable? I don't think that doesn't apply in chiropractic space. Same thing. Are you trainable? Are you coachable? Are you going to take my recommendations? How do you react when things get tough? How do you react asking these questions? And how do you react when things get mundane? What about when life gets in the way and your life gets too busy? Having this information like a good lawyer so that when you can talk to him, hey, remember when you told me that when you're super committed, collaborative, you'll do what I say to make this work and make this pain go away. Well, I'm having this conversation with you now because, hey, you ghosted us today. I know life gets in the way, but I want to address it, nip it in the bud now. Because what happens is typically either life gets in the way and you start feeling better, and then you forget about me. And I told you, you might feel better, but we haven't fixed the solution. And we haven't even nearly got to the preventative measures of what I do, which you told me you wanted to collaborate and do that with. So I'm facing it heads on. What do you want to do? Make them co-own it, make them co-author it, but don't be afraid to address it. None of us are mind readers. Don't pretend that you are now, right? So come from a place of authenticity, a place of curiosity, a place of openness, be you, but don't be afraid to challenge it. Same thing with someone who's a constant rescheduler. Hey, got to nip this in the bud. Got to have a heart talk with you. Um, I'm not going to apologize, but I just got to get it out of the way. You're really screwing this up for both you and me. Okay. I try to run a tight ship, efficient ship, make sure that my patients have their bookings, make sure that everyone's accommodated for, and that we can collaborate and we do all the cool things that we're doing this. But you're screwing up my schedule and you're screwing up your game plan. How do you want to solve this? Give them co-authorship in this. They have to own it. And I think ultimately Anita's question, without losing them completely, comes to the end all question of really, well, what are you losing if you're not really losing anything, right? So that comes down to the ultimate thing of all of this. Don't be afraid. Not afraid to lose you. I'm detached from the outcome of losing you. I'm committed if you're committed, but I'm not going to be more committed than you. And sometimes, as a chiropractor, as a doctor, as a friend, as a teacher, as a guide, we got to go house. That's why I got house up here. We can't always be Mr. Nice Guy, and nor should we be with our people. So, tough love all around. Be you, be open, be curious, be detached. Just come from a place of concern if you are concerned. If you don't care, if your people are ghosting you, no showing you, rescheduling on you, and you don't give a fuck and your business is good, awesome, then don't bother with it. But if you care about these people and you've done a good job in your discovery and your sales process and you can lean into that, then you can call them out. I've done this with clients that have fallen off track or tried to self-sabotage and fall off track. I mean, the beauty of the work that we're in, we're all in the same work. People come to us to help them solve problems. Part of the reason they had the fucking problems for so long was because they delayed solving them, or they thought otherwise, or had fear. Co-author with them, make them own it. Socrates 101, ask them questions, keep asking it. If you want to dive deeper and you want to work with me on this on a more granular focus level, make more money, save more money, and make your life easier, you know where to hit me up. All of you out there, love to you. Be well.